And Todd Malicote, you ever call me a white man again, I'm going to sue your ass. Okay? You understand me, you fucking YouTube troll? I'm going to sue your fucking ass. And you don't know
Todd
me,
Malicote,
you don't know about me,
a white man again,
and I assure you that when we stand in front of a judge, you'll be the one paying me, not the other way around. Okay? Todd Malicote got incensed because I used the term red man. Well, if you study history like I do, that's exactly what Native Americans were called. They were called the red man. Okay? Just because you don't fucking know that, Todd Malicote, is not my problem. Okay, anyways, moving right along. But yes, I'm 65% Cherokee Indian, folks. I could go to any reservation right now and easily get accepted. I just don't do it because fuck me, I'm almost 60 years old, so why bother, right? You know, Todd Malicote made the claim in G-Man's live show. Well, until I see his reservation card, I'm not going to believe he's an Indian. Fuck that. What do I need a card for? Okay, I'm either Cherokee Indian or I'm not, and I am. So fuck you, Todd Malicote, you YouTube troll. And if Todd Malicote's your real name, you might get something in the mail called a subpoena, motherfucker. So you better get your mouth off my native heritage, bitch.
Ooh, better get my name off his native heritage, bitch. Well, welcome everybody. I think Vaughn's got a beef with me. Not sure it's a justified beef, but we're going to talk about that. Yeah, I better stop calling him a white man, or I might get a subpoena in the mail if this is my real name, which it is. Yeah, what a bizarre individual. And today I'm going to try to stick to the native heritage claims. There's so much going on with Vaughn. It's hard to stick to one topic. But let's get right into it. Hey, Carnivorous. Hey, everybody that's in the chat. Thanks for coming. I did invite Vaughn to come in and defend himself against any kind of charges I bring on. So let me show you how that went. I emailed him. Let's see. Email to Vaughn. Let's share that. If you can see that okay, I'll unbigging it. There we go. You are cordially invited on my panel. You are cordially invited to a panel on my YouTube channel tomorrow at noon, today, Central Time. Subject will be your claim of native heritage. It's only fair I should offer you a chance to defend yourself against the information I'm going to present. I give him the link, and I said I promise you'll be given a fair chance to speak, and any trolling will be dealt with quickly and firmly, and I meant that. I didn't want it to be a troll fest. The point of this stream is to get to the truth, and I cite it sincerely. And let's see how Vaughn responded to that. It's pretty interesting. Vaughn's reply JPEG. Here we go. Bigging that a little bit. Can you guys see that all right? Vaughn says, "Bwah ha 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 ha. Even your boy Fat Larry will tell you I'm Cherokee. Cherokee. Deal with that." Now, a guy that can't spell Cherokee most likely isn't a Cherokee, but I don't expect Vaughn to show up anyway. So hopefully the subpoena will show up soon and we can get this all settled. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. Vaughn's claim of Indian ancestry, Native American ancestry. He's been talking about this for a long time. Let's go back to one of the farthest ago options when he was a little confused about how native heritage works and how percentages work and that sort of thing. So let's look at a clip from early Vaughn years and years ago and see if we can figure out what his actual claim is. Here we go. Start it out.
So Vaughn, are you 120% Cherokee?
I'm a minimum 43, maximum 120. Because I have Cherokee Indian. Because I've got Cherokee.
Hopefully you can hear that all right. He said he's a minimum 43%, maximum 120%. Remember, this is Vaughn years ago before he he kind of figured out how all this works. Let's go on, see what else he claims here.
The Indian on both sides of my family.
You're gonna talk to me.
So
how do you get 120?
Yeah, I'm talking to this guy on Skype. Hang on a second. I'm talking to the guy on Skype. I get 120 by putting both sides of my family together.
Did you get that? He gets to 120% native heritage by putting both sides of his family together. Because people can be 120% of a thing. That's our Vaughn.
Okay, because I have Cherokee on in my father's family, I have Cherokee in my mother's family. And when you put them together, it actually equals out to be more than 100%. Okay? When you got 75% of one thing, and you got 100% of another thing, isn't that 175%?
No, actually, that would be 82. Let's see. What's half of 15? 7.5. It'd be 92.5%. 82 point. Doggone it. 75% plus 7.5. Yeah, it's 82.5%. So what in the heck is he thinking here? That maybe some people don't understand how these sorts of things work. If your mother's 50% something and your father's 50% something, you're 50% that same thing. You're not 100% because they had 50% other stuff that they also gave you. But anyway, yeah, you add the percentages and divide by 2. It's pretty simple. So let's keep going.
I think so. I think so.
That just makes pure. That makes pure.
Pure. But see, I got.
You're pure.
Right. Well, I got Cherokee on both sides of my family. So when you put them both together, it actually comes out to be more than 100%. Huh?
Right. Okay. Well, then my grandma was 100%. My grandfather was 100%. So I get up to 100%.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess.
200%.
I don't know. I guess. I don't know. I don't know how they figure it.
I know that half of your DNA comes from mama, and half of your DNA comes from papa. That makes 100%. You can't go over 100%.
Well, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Right.
I've got enough Cherokee in me that I easily qualify as Native American, so it doesn't fucking matter.
So that's the real claim. It doesn't matter. He's got enough Native American in him that he easily qualifies to be called Native American. So finally, after all that mess, we actually got to the real claim. He's got enough in him that he can say he's Cherokee Indian. Okay, fantastic. Let's look at some other things that Vaughn has said in the past. Sorry, I got another big screen up here, and I got to keep resizing things. It's really irritating. There we go. Let's go to, okay, the thing he's saying now, the 65%. Let's see the origin of that. Share this screen. This is more in line with what Vaughn is saying these days. Let's take a look.
Why do black people cry about reparations, Vaughn? Let me ask you this. Why do black people cry about reparations?
Why do the Indians not cry about reparations?
Why do white people
you
cry?
can't say that. You
Why
can't
do
say
black
that. No,
people cry about
I can't say that.
Bud. You just said don't
I
blame
can't
white
say
man
that.
for nothing.
Hey, have you ever heard of the
Don't cry
Trail of
about
Tears?
reparations.
You might have heard of that. It happened. It's a historical.
Go ahead, Helton.
Bud,
You're
you
moving
just
the
said don't
goalposts, dude.
blame
Answer the
the white
question.
man for nothing.
Answer the
You
question.
can't
Why do
say
white
now.
people-
Let me
Okay,
get
oh, wait,
reparations.
okay, so wait a minute. The Native Americans who were literally put on a forced march until they died cannot ask for reparations, but the black folk can. Oh my God, I love this. This is awesome.
Okay, but
This is great.
do Native Americans pay
This is-
taxes?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
65% Cherokee Indian.
Okay, he's 65% Cherokee Indian. That's what he's been pretty consistent with lately. 65%, despite the fact that he used to say 165%, 120%, maximum, minimum, whatever. He's been sticking with 65%, and we're going to talk about that eventually. Here's another. This is a more important claim because this is much more specific about Vaughn's claim of native heritage. So I want to play this for you. This may be one most of you haven't seen for a while. Let's take a look at this guy. Enlarge that up for you.
I'm 65% Cherokee according to Amazon.com.
I gotta stop it there for a second. According to Amazon.com, he's 65% Cherokee. I'm pretty sure he meant Ancestry.com, but that's pretty funny. According to Amazon.com. Anyway, let's hear the claim here.
My mother's mother was 100% Cherokee. She was a Cherokee, the equivalent of what would be a Cherokee princess, I guess you'd say.
Okay, now that's super specific. His mother's mother was 100% Cherokee. She was a Cherokee princess. Well, forget that he meant priestess, but whatever. That's a specific claim, and we're gonna get to that. We're gonna show how that's not true.
She was high up on the totem pole.
Okay. No pun intended. No offense intended. She was high up on the totem pole. kind of sick that he used those words, but okay. That's what Vaughn claims. His mother's side, and he goes on in that that particular video. That didn't clip all of it, but he goes on to talk about how all over his mother's side, lots of Cherokee Indian blood. Obviously, if he had a full-blooded maternal grandmother, then her parents would have been full-blooded as well, because you can't be full-blooded unless both of your parents are full-blooded, and that goes on back quite a ways. So he's claiming he has a lot of Native heritage on his mother's side specifically. I guess he gets to the 65% because if his mother's mother was full-blood, and let's assume his grandfather was none or little, Alice would be 50%, and that would make, to get to 65%, that'd make his dad way more than that. Somewhere it'd have to add to 130, so his dad would have to be 80%, right? Assuming that he had a maternal grandfather with no Native industry. It gets a little weird, and the math gets convoluted, but he's been sticking with 65%, so I'm going to go with that. One other fun little thing I want to show, just as a prep before we get into the research. Here's another one of Vaughn's claims that I'm sure probably a lot of you have seen, but I find amusing, so I want to play it.
I am a Native American Indian, misbehaving girl. There's a certain portion of my anatomy that makes that abundantly clear, if you get my drift. Now, obviously, I'm not going to prove that live on Vaughn TV because I get banned, all right? But yes, there is a certain part of my anatomy that makes it abundantly clear that I am indeed a red man. Are we all clear on that yet? Okay.
Well, that's plenty of that, I think. He goes on to invite this person, whoever he was talking to get in a tryst with himself and his wife at the time, I assume was Andrea, but wow. I've never heard the claim that Native Americans have a large part of their anatomy that we all know what we're talking about, and I'm not sure where he got that, but okay, Vaughn, that's your claim. So let's talk about these claims and how we can prove that they're just not true. Let's go on over to let me get on this screen and enlarge this bad boy. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. Here it is. Hope you can all see that. I'll go ahead and take myself out of there, and I'll biggin this up a little bit. There's our boy right there. A lot of you will recognize this as Ancestry.com website. Pretty easy to trace people's ancestry, even if you're not that person, if you just have a little bit of basic information. And he was talking not long ago about his sister, who is in a particular music group. He named the group The Three of Us, I think it was, and I got a little interested and Googled a little bit and found out Glenda Helton, sure enough, was a member of The Three of Us, and I found her obituary with several names, and guess what? We can get to this, and Ancestry.com makes it super easy for you. But anyway, let's go into the specific claim that here's our friend Alice, who's still alive, Vaughn's mother. He claimed that his mother's mother, and you saw this picture in the video, the claim he made was that this person, Carrie C. Chandler, full blood Cherokee Indian. So let's look a little bit at some of her profile things. And hopefully this shows up well enough that you can see on here. Yeah, there's all kinds of things. I've already gone ahead and put the things I want to show in the galleries here. Let's talk about censuses. Censuses, that's a good word. Let's talk about the U.S. Census and how they would record information. Let's go back. Here's 1910, one of the earliest ones I've got. And let's look for Carrie C. Chandler in the 1910 census, which you can see the Chandler family here. You can see Carrie C. right there. I've got highlighted as the daughter. She was 12 years old in 1910. I mean, she was born about 1898. And if you look on this right here, they got these convenient headers. It says race, right? Look at all the W's and look at the Chandler family. Now remember, Vaughn claimed that this person, Carrie Chandler, was 100% Cherokee Indian. Do you see what that says? And do you see where it's highlighted? I'll bring it way up for you. So you can still see Carrie C., daughter, female. Look at that, and we'll highlight it here, and it'll tell you what it says. Race, white. I see a W. I see a W all across the family. So this family is recorded in 1910 as being white. So let's get out of that. We'll go back into this a little more and show some more examples. But I want to talk a little bit about how the census was done in the early 20th century. And I've got a document to show you that talks about that a little bit. I'm going to bring this down. There we go. It's Pew Research, so it's good stuff. Let me share this. Here it comes. Okay, this is the Pew Research Center talking about 7% of Americans don't use the internet. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I'm on this. This is not what I meant to be on. Here we go. The census, the changing categories the U.S. Census has used to measure race. I don't know. I must have gone forward or something. This is what I actually wanted to do, and I'll blow this up quite a bit for you. This is talking about how the census has traditionally been used and how they decided what race people were. Now, you'll see here, it was not until 1960 people selected their own race. We're talking about 1910 and prior, way back. Prior to that, an individual's race was determined by the census takers, and they were known as enumerators. And there's some more facts about what happened later. But anyway, we're talking about 1910 here. I've also got 1930 in there, but I want to show you some things on how the 1930 enumerators were instructed to record race. Obviously, it was M for male, F for female. That's easy. And then race, we had W for white, NEG, Negro, Mexican, Indian, Chinese, so on and so forth. A little bit, you can tell from the time was a little different there. Now, look, the specific instructions. I want to focus on how they recorded people of color. Negroes, it says a person of mixed white and Negro blood should be returned as Negro, no matter how small the percentage of the Negro blood. This is what we talked about with the one drop rule and some things earlier this week. And that was actually a thing from 1930 in the census. If you had any black DNA or black blood in you, you were recorded as Negro. Look at the next column, Indians. A person of mixed white and Indian blood should be returned as Indian, except where the percentage is very small or where the person is regarded as white in the community where he lives. So in other words, someone with a fairly small percentage. But if you were, as Vaughn claims, 100% Cherokee, there would be no mistaking that. And I'm not talking about just looking at a person. The person would realize that they're 100% Native. The family would realize they're 100% Native. And when they sat down and talked to this enumerator, they would specify, yes, we're Cherokee people. And they would have had an I. So there's no dispute here. And this is 1930, but it would have been similar types of instructions around that time in general. If you had Indian blood in you at a significant level, you were recorded with the letter I. So let's go back to this census and look at some other examples. Oh, that was a lot to get out. Okay, I want to go back to the Ancestry.com page. And I'm going to open this up here a little bit and we can talk about some things. But I want to show some examples first. I want to drop some receipts here that show what we're talking about. Okay, here's Carrie C. again. We already talked about that from the 1910 census. Yeah. Oh, you can't click on your screen. Go back on the big screen. Let me get out of that. Debigging it a little bit. Back to where I can get out. Sorry, it's really hard to navigate this big screen because I don't see it all. There's other censuses there. They all show the W's on the whole family. Here's another thing. This is it's just a death record. That's not going to be a big deal to her. We'll show that in some other cases. Let's go back to this Helton family tree. And you can see I've got it here to 4 generations, but we could go, and I've got some more up here, but it's not really significant. When we're talking about a person living today, we're talking about their closest relatives, their parents, their grandparents, and their great-grandparents. That's pretty much going to make. Once you get to great-great-grandparents and 5 and 6 great-grandparents, that's going to get diluted down quite a bit. So if someone claims to be 65% Native American, we should find some pretty significant percentages here. So let's look at Gilbert on the Frost side. We also mentioned, he said on his mother's side there was a ton of Native heritage. So let's look at old Guilford here. Guilford Frost. This is Vaughn's grandfather. And let's look at his gallery. Once again, let's specifically go to the 1930 census because we know how they recorded people's race in the 1930 census. We just read about it. Let's come up on the Frost. There's Guilford. He's the head of the household. He's 38 years old in 1930. And as you can see here, color or race, W. Look at all the W's in the Frost. I don't see any I's. I sure don't see any G's. So these are white folks. And again, I'm not referring to what they look like. We're not talking about, they had red skin or any of that bullshit. We're talking about what's recorded, what are facts that we can confirm. W, tons of them. Get back to his, I think I found some other interesting things about Guilford. Yeah, look, here's his World War II draft registration card. Good on him on doing the draft. Let's back out here a little bit. That's you can see Guilford Frost. For some reason, a lot of these have a thing over them, but here's his main card. You can see his address here. We don't really care about this. This is from 19. He was 48 years old. So it's from a while ago. But look at this. Oh, one more. Here we go. This has got the full card. Look on the back of a registration card for the military, what you had to check. Now, this would be self-reported. Guilford Frost thought of himself as a white man. Checked white. Had an opportunity to check Indian right there. Did not take it. Guilford Frost considered himself a white person. So there's that. Now, I'm willing to cede to the fact that he might have been 20%, 25%, a small percentage. He might have had an ancestor himself, but he certainly wasn't anywhere near full blood, and neither was his wife. Some other interesting things. Now, if you want to get into what people look like thing, which I'm not a big fan of, here's here they are, guys. Let's blow this up a little bit. Here's your native heritage, Vaughn. And I'm just going to leave it there and let you guys ponder on that for a second. But this is the folks he's saying there's a lot of native heritage from. I'm not seeing it. Again, I'm not a big fan of judging people, judging a book by its cover, because there's a wide range of looks for people of native heritage. But this combined with the fact that there's no record kind of makes me think. So anyway, that's the Frost side. That's where Vaughn actually claims his heritage come from. 100% native Kerry Chandler, remember. This is the person he claims, full-blood Cherokee. Princess. No, white on the census. So here's Vaughn's daddy, Irv Helton, who we just decided if Alice isn't 50%, Irv's got to be pretty damn close to 100% Native American. Well, let's look at some of the census information. Again, let's go to 1930. Let's see what old Irvy was up to in 1930. This is interesting because he would have been a kid then. He was 4 years old. His dad, farmer, was not in the house, which means maybe in 1930 he was off to war. It's possible, but Mary's listed as the head. That's his Vaughn's grandmother, Irvin's father. But again, if you look at this column right here that I'm highlighting, race, I see a lot of W's, folks. Don't see a lick of I's. So again, according to these enumerators that were working the 1930 census, who are, dealing with people and asking them questions, these folks weren't Indian. These folks were not, they didn't have any native heritage. They self-reported as white. They were not known as native in the community. So that pretty much ties it. I mean, I've got a ton of other material here. Here's a birth certificate, I think, for Irvin, Vaughn's dad. Yep. See, this is Farmer Helton, his grandfather, and Mary King, his grandmother. Interesting. It's a full maiden name. But you look right here. Listed on the birth certificate for Vaughn's dad, his parents, white and white. Okay. I don't think I need to say a ton more. That's most of the evidence right there. There's some other tidbits that we can go through, but I want to open up the room. I know some of you probably want to chat about this and talk about your experiences, some things maybe you've found. So if anybody'd like to come in, I'd love to talk to you about it. I'll keep showing some more examples until folks want to come in. I've got to go up here. Sorry. I can't see my full big screen. It's weird. There's some other interesting things. This city directory of it is Hamilton, Ohio. You used to have city directories, which were similar to phone books, but more about addresses. Looky here, here's Alice. Alice this was 1955. Alice was working as an assembler at the Whirlpool Seeger plant. She's putting together washing machines, I take it. And here's Irvin. He was a factory worker with Bendix Aviation in 1955. So that's a great question, Big Zebra. I see on there. If I can come back down here and show it. I'll go farther back in his genealogy, and you will notice. Let me get out of this real quick. Let me go back to the full Helton tree. This is take that off real quick. Sorry, a lot of moving around. This is as far back as I went, but you can go much farther, of course. You'll see no Von Heltons. All you see is Heltons, and trust me, that reproduces farther on back to about 7 or 8 generations. Vaughn himself decided to put the Helton on there. That was never a thing, really. So, hello, Blue. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Oh, your mic is muted. Hey,
great
Blue.
Great video. That was great. I was like, oh no, he's gonna explain the census forever, but no, it was right on point. I was wrong. I thought he was gonna go off track, but he stayed on track the whole time. That was great. Thank you.
I just wanted to briefly point out how these folks determined what they put in that box. And it was very clear from the 1930 instructions that if you had any Indian blood in you of any kind of consequence, you were an I.
I should also point out, we knew this before, as you know, and Father Jay had already done much of this ancestry work already. I just want to point that out. But it's nice to have proof. White is the driven snow. White, you want to talk about? Did you see those crackers? Oh my God! Oh my God! You talk about eating a turkey sandwich with mayo
Ultra
on
Blaze
Wonder Bread in the middle of a snowstorm.
Hey, Ultra Blaze. Oh, yeah, it's crazy. And a big shout out to Schneider Handyman, who was in the chat, who did a lot of the prep for this. I had actually, he was sending me a file, and I started digging, and it's really very easy if you guys want to get onto Ancestry.com. It's pretty easy to find. Once you have a birth date and a place, a ton of things come up. And then you can start hooking people to other relatives, and it's really kind of neat.
Yeah, no, I think that's proof on it. Like, that's pretty damning that Vaughn's not native.
Yeah. Well, the specific claim that his mother's mother was a full-blood Cherokee is without a doubt a lie.
A princess, no less. A Cherokee princess.
Yeah. We see her. We know who she was. We know she's listed as white in all the censuses.
Someone in the chat said Carrie looks like Andrea.
She does look a little bit like Andrea.
I drew
realize that. Let's go back to her. We got to share that screen now because you are correct, sir. She looks a lot like Andrea. Let me zoom in on her here.
Oh, I got to point out it was the other Blue, Thalo Blue, who pointed that out to me. I would have missed that.
Yeah. Wow. Let's go to her profile and really look at her profile image here. She looks a lot like Andrea. You're absolutely right.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I take that back. She's much prettier than Andrea. I got to say that.
She's got that same kind of ghostly expression.
No. I don't see the Dave stupid look on her face.
I wasn't going to say Dave stupid. I went with ghostly. I thought that was a little kinder there.
Well,
yeah.
Do what you think is right, of course.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, anybody can go on Ancestry. You can even do a free trial and get most of the information I got.
Well,
there's a ton of stuff on there.
Someone asked, why does Von lie about this? And I was like, well, lying, Von Helton without lying isn't Von Helton. But it has to do with what Burnt Toast said. It's trying to be cool, trying to be exotic, trying to pretend something.
Yeah, it's trendy.
Something that you are not. because you are a fucking cracker-lacking cracker, and it's not about fucking eating your blood, you son of a bitch, you fucking liar.
And the thing is, there's some pretty good accomplishments in that family history he's got there.
Oh, well,
There's pretty neat people.
His father served in the war. His father was an actual sailor, and was on that ship.
That's
once again, we'd have to defer to Schneider Handyman. He knows the story, but although being honorable World War II veteran, absolutely his father was, but he did not win the Congressional Medal of Honor.
No.
Got to exaggerate, got to make it bigger than what it is.
I've got a little bit of information on that I will share now. We want to talk about his dad. Here's the World War II mustard rolls. Here we go. And it'll scroll down here a little bit. We'll find.
He was in the Navy, correct?
Yeah, he was on the USS Wyoming as of July 31st, 1944. It's funny because everybody else's service number is shown, but his is unknown. Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh,
and he was an S1C, which would be an E3 by our standards. That's Seaman First Class in the Navy. So he made it to E3, at least, by July 31st of 1944. Most of the guys around him were E2s, all these Seaman Second Class. But, he was on the USS Wyoming, so that's kind of cool.
I don't know the history of that ship. Once again, Schneider Handyman. Bob, did you serve in our armed forces?
That's the Air Force for 4 years, yeah.
You were in the Air Force?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, thank you for your service, brother.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, stop that share. Schneider is here. I'm sure he's got some interesting input. Clockwork Rex joins us. Hello, Clockwork.
What's up, guys?
Hello.
Hello.
You were in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You were a disc jockey?
I was a musician. Saving the world one man
I
at a
know.
time.
You're the tuba man, Todd.
That's me.
Yeah, that shit's great.
That's right.
Cool.
Hey, never forget, don't mess with a tuba man.
That's right.
That's right.
I was a DJ
gentlemen?
in New York for a third shift. I was a DJ in New York, like Von.
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic.
You were the third shift top New York radio disc jockey, huh?
Yeah, but I can't remember what station I did for. Yeah.
Or you can't remember
It was a
what
strip
borough.
club, Lou. You know it was a strip club.
What are boroughs?
Yeah, what are boroughs? Seems how Von Helton can't remember the borough he lived in. When he claimed to be the #1 top New York radio disc jockey on rock and roll radio. But it's funny how I ask all my New York City friends who have lived there their whole life, and they've never heard of Irving Eugene Helton Jr. or James Helton.
Wait a minute. I have to. He only claimed to be a third shift DJ. He never claimed. Did he claim to be the #1 DJ in New York?
Oh, yes, sir, he did. He claimed to be the #1 top rock and roll radio disc jockey of New York City.
Hi, Toast.
See, it's just
Hello,
big lies.
What's up?
What's up? Oh, just sitting around talking, waiting on Easter plans.
Hey, Todd, I'm really glad you brought up his father's military record because, as we all know, Von Helton claims that his father was at every single major battle the U.S. Navy was involved in, including Pearl Harbor. Miraculously, his father teleported from Sparksville, Indiana, to Hawaii on December 7th, 1941. The only problem is his father enlisted in the Navy in 1943.
Correct.
And literally got out in 1945. So therefore he couldn't have been at every major battle.
And halfway through his commission, he was only an E3. So
correct.
Well, if he got to E3 within only the space of a year, that's pretty good.
It was alien. Alien.
Yeah, not to disparage E3s by any means, but that doesn't seem to line up
very
with the
good
level.
For someone who
doesn't line up with what Von
joined.
Yeah.
And the sad reality of it is he has an amazing family history. He has absolutely no reason to lie about it. He had a grandfather that entered, of course, every single one of his ancestors, other than one, served for the Confederate Army in Kentucky. All right.
Oh, wow.
he has like 4 or 5 grandfathers that did in fact serve in the Civil War. One, in fact, served the entire Civil War, enlisted as a private and got out as a captain. You know, so I mean, he was in the Confederate cavalry. Yeah,
that guy was lucky as well as good, I gotta say.
Yeah, and his father indeed was involved in the Battle of Okinawa and Iwo Jima. His father's ship was in fact attacked by naval kamikazes during the Battle of Iwo Jima, and there's actually a documentary, I think it's Battle 360, that details his father's ship and the attack of kamikazes on a ship. Now, we have a picture of his father's ship while his father was on it from the attack of Iwo Jima that literally shows the engine from a Japanese Zero embedded in the side of his father's ship. Now, to listen to Urban Eugene Helton Jr., the way he portrays it as if every single shipmate that his father had apparently was, you know, laying in bed, and his father was the only man out there mounting quad 40s, which his father's ship didn't have quad 40s. It had dual 40s, 40 millimeter anti-aircraft guns. And there's, like I said, the documentary of the Battle of Iwo Jima on Battle 360, and it's one of his father's shipmates is interviewed, and he talks about how it was a team effort, but not according to Von Helton. Apparently, his father's shipmates just said, "Screw it, we're done with the battle. We'll leave it to Urbine Sr. to save the ship." And therefore, that's how he got the Congressional Medal of Honor, even though he appears on no Congressional Medal of Honor registries.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and if you fire those ship guns too fast, the barrels will melt. Yeah, I mean, Todd knows that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
the barrels will melt.
He had one finger on the trigger, and the other hand was on a hose, cooling the barrels down. You know?
Yeah, that's how that works. Yeah.
Wow.
And one other note, Todd, I am glad that you hit on the Von Helton thing, as Von Helton claims. His claims in the past were every time the U.S. became involved in a war that Germany was involved in, the true, quote unquote, family name of Von Helton, they would switch it back to Helton, dropping the Von, because they were afraid of anti-German discrimination in America. So prior to World War I, his claim was they were Von Helton. World War I breaks out, they drop the Von, they go to Helton. After World War I, they go back to Von Helton. World War II breaks out, they drop the Von again, go back to Helton, blah, blah, blah. The Von and Von Helton, he invented himself when the video game The Red Baron came out. He joined online at the time. I mean, the internet was just fresh, just new. We're talking AOL days. He added the Von to his name to sound like Baron. He literally was going as Baron Von Helton.
Baron Von Helton. Well, he's got a problem because here's 1870 census, and there's old Shadrach at 18 years old, marrying his wife Lucretia at 26. Doggone.
Shadrach and Lucretia?
Shadrach and Lucretia back in 1870. Both listed as
Don't you
white.
love that name?
Yeah. Shadrach's a badass name. Yeah. I can show you.
Lucretia's pretty rad.
Yeah, but she was
a chick named Lucretia.
She's way older.
German and Native American?
No, he's Bavarian and German and whatever else he decides. Here's Shadrach and his family.
Yeah,
Sarah
I love
Simpson.
that photo.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Isn't that an awesome photo?
You put that up right now.
Yep.
Yeah, of course, because he has to be German, and he's also Romanian because he's also the great grandson of Vlad Tepes, Dracula.
Oh, really?
So therefore, he's a vampire. He's a direct descendant of Count Dracula. Yeah, you never heard that?
Of course he is. Oh yeah, I've heard him claim the Dracula
Wow,
thing.
yes.
Yeah.
That's what the Vaughn's for.
John, please come help her with these eggs.
And also don't forget, he's the cousin of Ted Nugent. Right.
Of course.
What else was it? Yeah, he's the cousin of Todd. Oh, and the Robert Frost, like the message I sent you on Discord, Todd.
Yeah, right.
He does have a grandfather named Robert Frost, but it is not the Robert Frost.
Not the author. Yeah,
the Robert Frost was. Yeah.
The dates
born
don't line
in
up at all.
Kentucky, died in Kentucky.
Right.
No.
Yeah, nowhere near the Northeast. And the dates don't line up either. You can look up Robert Frost's birth and death dates very easily, and they're not the guy he's related to. So anyway, we've debunked a ton of claims. I've got a family coming over here pretty quick, so I wanted to keep this under an hour. But anybody else have anything they want to bring up? Well, we got a few minutes.
I just want to say thanks for doing all of this. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good video.
Yeah, I tried to be super concise.
And Todd, I'm sorry I got the file to you late. I had a bunch of family things come up.
It was good because it confirmed what I'd already found, which was the best.
Hey, the sad reality is I'm kind of semi-retired from the troll wars. I've been at this way too long. I've been busting Von Helton's balls for 13 years. Yeah. I know everything about the man's life. I know more about his life than he does. Yeah. Okay. And so I'm kind of out of the game. I'm hit and miss. I'm writing books. I'm writing screenplays now. So all this stuff just kind of takes a back seat. Yeah. I have a family, new grandchildren, everything else. But I'm glad that you brought this up. It's just calling out the bullshit, you know.
Well, I'm sure if you saw the beginning, he has a beef with me. He told me he's going to sue me if I keep calling him a white man. So, Vaughn, you're a white man and you don't have Native heritage.
Vaughn, you're a white man.
You're a white boy. You're a white boy, Vaughn. So,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Hey, sadly, I used to have 14 generations of his father's family and about 12 of his mother's family. But about a year ago, when I said, screw it, I'm done with all this, I deleted that. And I had to rebuild it. I'm up to 8 generations on his father's and 6 on his mom.
With Shadrach, I've got about 3 more up there. But, I was going to give him 25%-ish. I was willing to give him that. But now that I've actually seen the ancestry, no, I'm not giving him anything.
Same.
There's nothing there. You need to be able to point to a relative. And he did that, and he lied through his teeth. So, come at me, Vaughn. You lied through your teeth. The person you said is full blood is listed as white on every census.
Yeah. Also, the Cherokee, I'm not Cherokee, but I know the Cherokee people, they have, very well-known names, and they're very meticulous with their details and knowing all of the family groups and stuff. And I'm looking at his family tree, what you showed, Todd, and I literally don't see anything from that tribe. So I don't even know why he would even pick that, because none of his family is from Georgia. Right. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't even make sense. Because
Georgia,
that's
where
Florida,
southeast region, which we start talking about the 5 civilized tribes in that area, and Cherokee, Chickasaw, Seminoles. It's not lining up at all.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And people were asking about Larry Cross. I'm getting feedback.
I'm cooking. I sent her.
People were asking about Larry Frost. The family tree of the Frost family, years and years ago, when Ma Helton got pissed off at Vaughn and cut off his internet, he was having to go down to his cousin's, Larry's, to upload any video. He would make them at home, put them on a thumb drive, go down. But one day when he was down there uploading the video, he decided, okay, cousin Larry, let's prove to the world that I'm 174% Cherokee Indian. So he showed cousin Larry's research. Cousin Larry's research are Post-it notes on a board on his wall.
Yeah.
With just names. No dates, no research. I have been a genealogist for 30 years. I am a professional. People pay me money to research their family trees. So
That
literally,
reminds me.
those 8 generations that I did on Bond's family took me about 3 days. That was it. 3 days. 8 generations. So, I mean, that's where his proof of what we used to call Larry Frost, who was a great guy. He's a friend on my Facebook. I have him on my phone. We speak often on the phone. We used to call him Chief Big Titties. All right. Yeah, the video he made, no shirt, big titties hanging out. But anyways, that's his proof. It's just post-it notes on a wall. And I have offered the entire, go ahead.
I was looking. I'm working on my other screen.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Even when I had 14 generations of the Helton and 11 of the Frost family, I offered the entire Frost family a JEDCOM file, which is, like I said, people pay me to do this. I offered to them for free. Okay. None of them wanted it. None of them wanted it.
Yeah, I remember.
I just wanted to believe old stories. And I mean, this is the thing was my third great grandparents that we have always been told, and this attests to family stories versus genealogy and actual, ancestry DNA research. We were always told that we were Oneida Indian. Okay. Well, my second great grandmother was adopted, all right, into the Oneida tribe. All right, was what we knew as my third great grandparents, Leighton and Marlea, who were doctors. My grandmother was an herbalist, and my grandfather was an actual physician. We, through research and DNA, we come to find out that my great great grandmother was adopted. All right, so that's the way you prove that, through research and DNA. But I mean, hell, it was still grandma and grandpa.
Well, here's the thing I was looking for, and this is on Vaughn's dad's side. This is Mary King, who is the wife of Farmer Helton, his grandfather. This would be his grandmother. And if you look on these hints, there's something interesting in here. Indian, and it's a story. So let me push that up here. This was posted by Catherine Hagg, whoever that was, but it says, and maybe I can enlarge it so you can see this. Indian was said to be Choctaw or Cherokee Indian. I was very close to my grandmother, but everything was kept a secret. And it was posted by William Helton. Here's the thing, though. If you go to Mary King's census records, she's always listed as white.
Also, Choctaw people they're from Mississippi. Yeah, so again, it's nowhere near where any of these people are from. Yeah. Not to mention the fact that, like, looking at where his family was born and died, these are some of the families that moved into the land after my people were shoved out of the way. Yep, I'm just saying. So I find it pretty ironic that he's now saying that he's Cherokee from Ohio. That's not a thing.
Yeah,
that's not a thing.
No, exactly. And I have the King family back probably 2-3 more generations beyond that, all white as the driven snow.
Oh yeah,
because I saw that note. Yeah, I saw that note, maybe rumored to, and I went, okay, let's look at her great 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 grandfather coming from England.
Yeah. And I kind of wondered if Vaughn posted that. That's why I brought it up.
Before
trying to support the story. Go ahead, my broker. Sorry.
Before our resident researchers take off, you said Vaughn's dad served on the USS Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't have been the ship he was on at Iwo Jima.
No, that was not. That was his training ship.
Yeah,
the Wyoming was his training ship.
Yeah, I was about to say, because the Wyoming was an old battleship that was converted in the 30s to a gunnery training ship. So yeah, he would have trained on the Wyoming. Yeah, but what was the ship that he actually served on in the Pacific?
His father was on a frigate, all right, which was basically a support ship. At the time, it was an oiler. It was an old oiler that they threw a shitload of guns on and called a support ship. They were the ships that would skirt the destroyers. They were on the farthest outer rings. They were basically, it was a floating gun platform. That was all it was.
They were
It
picket
was just
ships.
loaded with anti-aircraft, but it was just a support ship. And I have, the ship he was assigned to for 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and most of them would have just had a hull number, instead of a name.
Yeah, correct. It didn't even have a name. It was just a hull number. That was it.
Yeah, super interesting stuff about the Wyoming there. Why does he, of all the people on the ship, not have a serial number? That's weird. And it says right there, the service number must under no condition be omitted.
I have.
And here he is, unknown.
I have his father's entire military record. From the date of his enlistment to the date of his discharge, I have every ship and every. I mean, he mustered out of Norfolk, so he enlisted in Sparksville, Indiana, and was shipped to Norfolk for training.
Yeah,
and the Wyoming was his first. Yeah,
it says from Naval
that
Training
was his
Station,
first training ship.
Yep. Wow. Well, lots of good information, guys. I'm going to have to take off because the family's going to be here at the top of the hour. But thank you all for coming. It's an ongoing discussion, so we'll keep going with this. But
see you, Todd. Have a good Easter.
Thank you, guys. You too. Have a good night. See ya.
Yeah, you guys take care. Happy Bunny Day.
Goodbye.
See ya.